I'll be sharing with you 5 different sauce you can make to enjoy your yam, from your roasted yam to your boiled or even to your fried yam. You are in the right place. Hello, value family. You're welcome back to my channel. Today's recipe is 5 in 1, from your uba sauce even down to your fish sauce. Since we are making this sauce for yam, we have to peel and cut our yam first. I'm wearing gloves because my skin is very sensitive to yam peels. But if your own is not sensitive to yam peels, you can feel free to use your bare hands to cut yam. So I'm just going to cut this yam, peel it. We are going to wash it before we start cooking. After washing, I'm going to transfer this to the pot. And for the pot, I'm using my clay pot. It was when I was editing this video that I realized that most of the yam that I cooked, I always use this clay pot, and I don't know the reason why. So add in water, add in salt. You're going to cover this up and allow this to cook. So in another pot now, we are going to pour in the palm oil. We are making the uba sauce. That is the first sauce we are making. Add in some of your chopped onions. You just want to allow this to fry for a while first before you add in your pepper mixture. This is a combination of tatashe, scotch bonnet pepper, and shumbo. It was quite frozen, so I added it in like that. Stir this all together, add in salt. You are going to allow this to really fry. You know the flavors that comes with your pepper. You just want this to really come out first before you add in your oba or opaka, anything you call it in your place. Just add it in. One tip I want to tell you here is that the longer you leave your uba in your oil, the more flavor it's going to give you. So you don't want to just add in your uba and stir and bring this down. No. You just want the flavor to really infuse in that oil because you want to use this to eat here. So what I advise for you to cover this and allow this to cook. See, a few minutes later, the aroma coming from this is going miles away. Just finish this by adding in some of your otazi. The otazi is just going to balance up the taste. Stir this all together and your oba sauce is ready. See, protein to this sauce is just totally optional. You can add in fish or more or anything you want, but it's totally optional. So if you really want to get the natural taste of your oba, this is just how you want to make the sauce. So serve this with the boiled yam we cooked earlier. Top this up with extra otazi and add in your oil from your oba. This is so good. No additional flavors added to this, and it tastes really good. So I'm doing a taste check here for you. This is a food you eat with your hands, no fork needed, and this tastes really good. And that is it for our uba sauce. Now to the next sauce. We are going to be adding in our peeled yam into the pot. Like I told you earlier, I don't like peeling yam, so I don't think you'll see me peeling yam any other place in this video. So just add in water for the yam, go in with salt, and we are going to be adding in the pepper we are using for this. This is just your regular pepper. Just add it into the pot. You just want to cook this pepper a little bit because you don't want it to taste really raw. So cover this up and allow this to cook. You're going to allow the pepper to cook the same time the yam is going to cook. That way the pepper will be very soft and you are ready to go. Once the yam is ready, proceed now to take out the peppers from this. We are going to be pounding the peppers alongside with the vegetables. We won't be frying or cooking these peppers any longer. Hence, it is needed for you to just cook it. But if you don't mind the raw peppers, don't bother about cooking your peppers. So after taking this out, I'm going to be heating up the palm oil you'll be using for this. This is totally optional, but if you have this type of palm oil, you will need to heat it up. Add in salt, allow this to heat up. You don't want to bleach the palm oil. So just stir this. Once the palm oil is well heated, this is ready. You can now take this out from the fire. We'll be making use of garden egg leaves for this recipe, so just proceed to wash your garden egg leaves. So in your mortar, add in some of your onions. I just cut this onion so that the pounding process will be easy. Add in the ready cooked peppers, the one we cooked earlier. Go ahead now and add in your already washed garden egg leaves. We are going to be pounding this all together. If you have your food processor, this will be very easier for you. But back then, this is how our grandmas usually make this. They pound this in a mortar till you get this very rough consistency. You don't want it to be very smooth. So once it is rough like this, you just know that you are there, that your sauce is almost ready. What you are going to do is that we are going to transfer the already heated palm oil and salt into this. This is blood tonic, like my grandma used to call it back then. This sauce is very healthy. So just pour in the palm oil and salt. Stir this all together. You don't need seasoning for this. And your sauce is ready. This sauce is so good. You can pair it with your yam, plantains, and even swallow. Most times we use our eba to eat this sauce. So I'm just going to serve this with already boiled yam we cooked earlier. And this is your sauce. It is ready. It is so good. So I'm going to also do a test check for you guys. And I'm sure you that if you try this, you are going to be hooked. Not only that it's healthy, it's very delicious. The next sauce is a melon sauce. This is also called enyum. I don't know what you call it in your place. Let me know in the comment section. What do you call this in your place? This is a melon sauce. And we're going to call this open. After cutting it up, we are going to remove the seeds from this melon. And we're going to be boiling it the same time we are boiling our yam. They have the same cooking time. So you just want to cut this open, take out the inside, and transfer this to your pot. Like I said earlier, don't be tired of seeing my clay pot. It was also as I was editing this video, I realized that I use my clay pot for all my yam recipes. So add in your yam into the pot and go ahead now and add in this melon into the pot. You are going to pour in water that will cover this up, add in salt, and you're going to allow this to cook. This melon is just going to get soft the same time your yam is going to get soft. So you just want the both to cook at the same time. But you can as well cook this differently. If you're not going to pair this with some boiled yam, you can just boil this differently with just water and salt. But since we are pairing with yam, so you can just go through the process. So after some minutes, we are going to check on this. Once your fork can go right into this, like once your fork can pierce into this, you just know that it is ready. You can see how soft the pumpkin is now. So I'm just going to take this out from the yam. Just take the pumpkin out from the yam, drain the water of your yam, and we're going to scrape out the inside of the pumpkin. That is just what we are going to do. You can see the flesh is very easy to come out from the back of the pumpkin. So I'm just going to scrape this out from the pumpkin and you're going to use your fork to mash it. You can as well pound this with your mortar. Back then we used to pound with our mortar, but you can just use your fork to mash it since it is very soft and easy to work with now. This is what the back looks like. Just discard it, it is not needed. So after mashing this, we are going right into the sauce preparation. So into your pot, you're going to be adding in some palm oil. Allow the pot to dry before adding the palm oil. Allow this to heat up, going with your chopped onions. You just want to add in your peppers mixture. This has a little bit of tomatoes. So add in the pepper mixture, stir this all together. You're going to season this. So after seasoning, you're going to allow this to really cook before adding in the mashed melon. And for the seasoning, just keep it very simple. I added in my seasoning powder and salt. Stir this all together. You're going to cover up your pot and allow this to cook. After cooking, this is what it's going to look like. You can see the oil of this coming to the top. You just know that your peppers, sauce have really fried very well. So proceed now to pour in the already mashed melons into this. So you're going to stir this all together. Allow it a little bit time on fire. You just want the flavors from the melon to really infuse in your sauce. So stir this all together and allow this to cook. Some minutes later, this is what you have. You know that the melon has already been pre-cooked. So add in some of your otazi leaves. The otazi, just take the taste of this to 100%. It's just going to balance the flavors from the melon. So I'm just going to give it a final stir and your sauce is ready. It is very simple but yet very delicious. You can pair this with your yam. You can also pair this with your swallow depending on what you are eating. But for this recipe, we are pairing with our yam. So just serve this with yam and it is so good. If you used to enjoy this sauce back then, let me know in the comment section so we can interact. So the next sauce, you just have to add in your butter into your pan. This I called kids delight because every child love this fish sauce. So allow the butter to really melt before you add in your chopped onions. You're going to stir this. See the flavors that the butter is going to give to the sauce is just what I want you to try out. So fry your onions till it is translucent. Go ahead now and add in your peppers and chopped tomatoes. See, you don't need to do too much tomatoes for this recipe. So stir this all together. Allow this to really fry. This is the time for you to now to add in your already cooked deboned mackerel fish. So I've cooked the fish to perfection, deboned it, and you are going to add this into the sauce. Mix this very well. You just want the fish to really coat well with the sauce. So you're going to add some seasoning powder and your salt. Remember not to do too much because you'll be adding in some of our fish stock to this. So make sure not to over season this. So I'm just going to allow it for a few minutes on fire before you add in the fish stock. Once you are satisfied that the fish have infused well into the sauce, go ahead now and add in some of your fish stock. 2 scoops of this is okay. So stir this together, allow it for a few minutes on fire before you add in your already cut cabbage. See, cabbage goes very well with yam. If you have not been told that, just hear it from me. You are getting a first-hand information from me. Cabbage and yam are perfect pair made for each other. So I'm just going to stir this all together. You don't want your cabbage to be really soft. You just want it to still have this crunchy effect. So at this stage, just reduce your heat. So stir this all together. Allow the cabbage to just soften a little bit. And this is what you have. Your cabbage and fish sauce is ready. So this is the right time for us to serve. And I'm going to do a test check for you guys. Like I said earlier, this is Kids Delight. So I won't be having this alone. I'll be having this with my kids. Hence, you have all these plates and they're going to eat without having any leftover in their plate. You know, that's the joy of every mother, right? Because this sauce is good. And back to our test check. Try this, guys. It is so, so good. And our next sauce is a St. Leaf and Otazi sauce. This is one native sauce you shouldn't joke with. So this is a combination of scent leaves, otaze, scotch bonnet pepper, onions, and ogiri. So to make this work very easy, we are going to be using food processor. But if you don't have your food processor, feel free to use your mortar. Just that you're going to spend longer time in the kitchen. But if you have your food processor, this is just a work in the park. And if it is puchi meat, the better. So add in all the ingredients into your food processor. Reserve some of your otaze for garnishing. So just add in everything. Nothing is being left here. Pour in everything and you allow the food processor to do its work. But if you're not using food processor, like I said, just pound this batch by batch. You don't want to do it at the same time because it will really overwhelm you. Scent leaves are kind of hard, unlike your garden egg leaves that is very soft, you can pound easily. But scent leaves is just going to give you tough time to pound. Most times, you even boil the scent leaves with yam before pounding. But if you have your food processor, you don't need to boil your scent leaves. So this is what it looks like some minutes later in the food processor. So transfer these into your pot, pour in everything into your pot and go in with your palm oil and salt. If you notice one thing, our native sauce, you don't need to add in any seasoning at all. For your native sauce, you don't need seasoning for your native sauce, except you are making your fish sauce. That's the normal sauce. But for your native sauce, you don't need that. So add in your palm oil, add in your salt, stir this all together and transfer this to your stove top for this to heat up. I didn't say for this to fry or for this to cook. You're not cooking it. You just want the sauce to really get hot and that is it. So I'm just going to cover up the pot and transfer this to my gas and allow this for a few minutes on fire for this to really heat up. For this, we won't be pairing this with boiled yam. I think we have eaten a lot of boiled yam already. So I'm making some roasted yam and you have to cut your yam thinly enough so that it can actually roast fast if you are using your air fryer or your oven. So just adding your salt, make sure that you're able to just mix this and you can now transfer this to your wire rack and transfer to your food processor. That's if you're using your food processor. If you're using your oven, just the same thing, transfer to your oven. But if you have your charcoal grill, feel free to just add it directly to your charcoal grill. For these, I'm using a food processor. So you're going to use the bake or the roast function on your food processor, depending on what you have. For your oven, you can just proceed to just bake. It's just going to give you the same thing. So a few minutes later, the yam is ready. It's perfectly roasted. Though it don't have those charcoal line, but it's very well roasted. I'm just going to cut this right in and you're going to see this. So after peeling the back, just proceed now to just cut this into your plate. And back to our sauce. This is what you have. It's looking like soup, right? This is good to go. So I'm going to pour this over the Roasted yam. See, this sauce is my most favorite native sauce. This is so good. It's so cleansing. Like your body is going to thank you after the sauce. So, like I told you earlier, reserve some otazi for garnishing, and this is what you have. Make this for someone that you love and see them coming to sing your praises. See, I so much love this, and I want you to try this out. Well, I reserve the best for the last. At least you don't need to be a pro to prepare this. Everyone should try this combo. Once in your lifetime, make sure to try this. There is no capping about it. Just boil your yam and add in your palm oil. Add in some salt and you are good to go. Tell me, is this not the best pair for yam ever? Palm oil and salt. Make the palm oil fresh. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next one.